This is the story of how Carlos Cortés Vargas rode into Ciénaga with orders to restore order, and in that moment rewrite a truth. He would be the face of a decision that turned a labor dispute into one of the darkest and most disputed events in South American history, the Banana Massacre of December 1928. To understand the explosion, you must see the plantations. In the 1920s, the coastal plains of Magdalena, Colombia, were patchworks of green, the property of the United Fruit Company, an American corporation that controlled rail lines, ports, towns, and the lives of thousands of workers who lived in company camps. Men labored under brutal conditions, no formal contracts, long hours, poor pay, and the constant threat of dismissal. When a strike swept the region in late 1928, it was not sudden fury, but a long simmering insistence on dignity. 8-hour workdays, fair wages, and legal recognition. Negotiations stalled. The company feared contagion to other plantations. Local elites feared unrest. United Fruit, with enormous economic power, demanded protection. The Colombian government of President Miguel Abadía Méndez decided to act. They sent troops under General Carlos Cortés Vargas, who arrived in early December with instructions framed as restoring order and protecting property. On December 5 and 6, 1928, thousands of workers and their families gathered near the Ciénaga train station, hoping to hold a peaceful assembly.
What followed was chaotic and lethal. Soldiers opened fire on crowds. Eyewitness accounts speak of panic, bodies piling near rail cars, mothers clutching children. The government's initial public narrative insisted the army had suppressed a seditious riot. Officials branded the strikers as agitators inspired by foreign radicals. From the start, there was a second story, a quieter, deliberate unweaving of facts. The official death toll announced by authorities was small and tidy. Survivors and independent observers told a different tale. Estimates vary wildly. The government reported a few dozen dead, while workers, local witnesses, and later historians have suggested the deaths numbered in the hundreds, and some witnesses claimed even more. Names, records, and testimony disappeared. Official inquiries closed quickly. Soldiers' reports were accepted without independent verification. A silence was stitched over the town, and the truth became a contested commodity. What made this not merely a massacre but a conspiracy was the intersection of corporate pressure and state violence. United Fruit's economic leverage shaped policy choices. The government prioritized export stability over the lives of its citizens. When the shooting ended, the company continued operations. The army dispersed, the official files locked, and the families of the dead were offered neither justice nor full accounting. The aftermath rippled far beyond Magdalena. The event haunted Colombia's collective memory and fed a narrative of how foreign capital and local elites could collude to crush dissent. Internationally, there was muted protest but no real penalty for those whose decisions led to bloodshed. In the decades that followed, writers and activists refused the silence. Gabriel García Márquez would later weave a version of the episode into 100 Years of Solitude, transforming the massacre into a literary indictment of forgetting, a town where the dead were swept away and the story refused to be told. Historians since have tried to reconstruct what happened on those days in 1928. They sift through government dispatches, company documents, and fragmentary testimonies. The picture is clear on motive and consequence, even if numbers remain debated. Workers' demands met corporate alarm, the state chose force. The aftermath was a cover-up of sorts, minimized reports, suppressed inquiry, and the erasure of witnesses. The Banana Massacre is not merely a local tragedy frozen in time. It is a parable about power, how economic might can shape armies' orders, and how official narratives can be crafted to protect interests. The full truth may never be reconciled in each statistic, but the outline endures. People organized for dignity, they were met with bullets, and those in charge reshaped the memory to spare themselves culpability.
A century later, Ciénaga still remembers in fragments, oral testimonies, a line in a novel, and a history class. The story of Carlos Cortés Vargas, the general sent to restore order, remains a lens through which Colombia and the world ask who gets to write history, who is protected by the state, and what it costs when commerce and government conspire to silence a population.